Hello everybody, it's nice to see you again, and best wishes from a very warm and sunny southwest England. Must have started off with some thank yous to all the schools in Scotland that I visited recently on my visit to Angus. Had a really lovely time and just wanted to say thank you for your hospitality and your good humour. It was great to be there and see you. Also best wishes to Ivybridge Community College, dear old friends down the road from me. Lovely to see you again too, and it was great working with you and hearing some of your writing in the workshop. That's a very, very nice emails, and also a huge bundle of letters from Sevenoaks School again. More about you guys later on. I'll come to you in a bit. But first of all, a quick hello to Jamie. Now Jamie, you're from another school, aren't you? You're from Linslade School, and you visited another school, Cedars Upper School, that I was at recently, and it was good to meet you, Jamie, and I know you're taking part in the workshop there. Thank you for your email. And you say here, I would just like to seek some advice on what you need to do to make a book good. And then you give me some details about a book that you're writing, Jamie, which sounds absolutely fantastic. Really, I love the ideas you've given here. But you say, will I give you some ideas or some advice on what you need to do to make the book good? And the truth is, Jamie, you actually don't need my advice at all, because you've got something far more precious than any advice I can give, and that is your imagination. I often get asked to help people with story ideas they've got, help them to develop those things. But do you know what, Jamie? If I were to do that here, what will worry me is you'd end up with a story that wasn't really demonstrably yours. You'd end up with a story which is partly yours, of course, mostly yours, but it's still got bits and pieces of my ideas in there. And you don't actually need my ideas at all, because you've got something far more precious, and that is the treasure house of your own imagination. It is so precious. Your imagination, Jamie, is just as powerful as anybody else's in the world, including mine. And the other important thing about this, the most important thing of all, is it is unique to you. It is the only imagination with Jamie-ness in it, with your kind of Jamie-ness in it, you know? And you don't need anything else. It's a limitless imagination, and I want to encourage you to really use it and to trust it more. You're asking me for advice, and I'm very touched that you think my advice is worth having, but actually, trust yourself more, Jamie, because I can't offer you anything better than what you've already got. So dive into your imagination. Your story ideas are great. If you add to your imagination those other great virtues of patience and hard work and self-belief, if you can muster some self-belief and trust yourself, I promise you, you can write amazing stories. And this one sounds great. And even if this one doesn't go well, Jamie, doesn't matter. Write some more stories. You can go on writing for the rest of your life, right to the end of your days, and your imagination will just keep on saying, come on, more, more, more. I've got loads more to give you, loads more to give you. Keep on, live a bit longer, I've got more to give you. That's what the imagination is. It's limitless. So Jamie, thanks for writing. I love your story ideas. You don't need any advice from me. Get writing, have fun with it. Your imagination's got everything you want. So get going, and all the very best, and thank you for getting in touch, okay? Right, now let's turn to Sevenoaks School. You're going to do it, you've done it again. Mrs. Estop, as usual, is the culprit behind all of these. Mrs. Estop, if you keep on inflicting my work on your unsuspecting students, this is going to happen again and again. I know you're all watching this. Hello to everybody. I am delighted that Mrs. Estop has inflicted Stormcatchers on you again, and I'm delighted, or rather on another group of her students, because this has been happening again and again, I promise you. But also I'm delighted that you love the book so much. I'm so touched. I read these again and again, had so much fun reading them. Now, first of all, don't be angry with me, because each one of you has written loads. 3 or 4 pages, some huge, great long letters, and many of you have written poems as well, inspired by Stormcatchers. And many of you have written loads and loads of questions. So don't be angry with me, because I want to have a quick word with everybody, okay? But that means I can't go through the whole letter, I can't do all the questions or any of that. So don't be angry with me. But I want a quick word with everybody. Here we go, let's crack on. Now, Mia, hello Mia. Lovely letter, thank you. So pleased you like the book. You say something really interesting at the end, Mia. You made a great point about fiction. You said, let me quote you, you said, the slightest overdose of make-believe will make readers stop believing. It's a great point, Mia, because we know, don't we, when we're writing stories or when we're reading stories, we know it's made up. We know that Stormcatchers didn't actually happen. I made it up, and you knew that when you were reading it. And so what the reader does, what we always do, we kind of have an agreement, don't we, with the writer that we know this is make-believe, but we will suspend our disbelief and pretend it's real. But you make a great point. The slightest overdose of make-believe will make the reader stop believing. In other words, you can't overcook it. You've got to get a balance right. So those of you who are interested in writing stories, Mia, you might be one of them, always remember that. Yes, you want to push the boundaries of credibility, if you like, but you've got to stay on the right side of what's believable. And if you push it, if you overcook it, then the reader will say, hang on, I won't buy that. So it's a great point, Mia. Thank you very much. Lovely to hear from you. Who's next? Who have we got now? Christian. Hello, Christian. Hope you're well. Lovely letter. Thank you very much, Christian. You say, Tim, if you could write the entire book again, this is Stormcatchers, of course, if you could write the entire book again, what features about it would you change? I wouldn't really change any of them, Christian, not because I'm thinking, oh, the book's perfect. Of course it's not perfect. I haven't written a perfect book. I never will write a perfect book. No, the reason I wouldn't change it again, Christian, is simply because that's the story I wrote then. That represented who and what I was then, the way I wanted to see things and tell things, and I kind of think, well, I want to write other stories now, so I don't really want to write it again. It's what it is. Take it or leave it. Glad you guys liked it, but not everyone will. I'm so pleased you liked it, Christian. But no, I wouldn't change anything really, I don't think. Good question. Thank you, Christian. This is Maya. Hello, Maya. And you've written a poem as well, Maya. Really, really nice. You say, very kindly, you say, I would not, this is a bit like Christian's question. You say, personally, I would not change any part of the book because it gets across the emotions so well and the characters are so easy to empathise with. Thank you very much indeed for saying that, Maya. And in your poem, wow, what a poem. A poem based on Stormcatchers. The storm has come. I love the last lines you say. The storm has been caught. The teddy dropped. The lighthouse has fallen. Their bodies concealed. Father and daughter together. Great ending. Lovely. Thank you so much, Maya. Really enjoyed reading that. Who's next? Ivan. Hello, Ivan. My father-in-law is called Ivan, so Ivan's a good name. Well, all good names, of course, but there we are. Anyway, Ivan, what have you got? Now, lovely, a letter here. Several things you say. I think that the book is not. Now you're a bit critical here, and I would glad you are. You say, I think that the book is not fully explained at the end because you did not tell us who the glowing girl was and why Sammy was imagining her. Ooh, Ivan, I don't know if I agree with you there. I actually think that I do. Maybe I don't explain. The word explain is the tricky word here. In stories, I don't think it's the job of the author to explain things. It's the job of the author to maybe show things or hint at things and make the reader do a bit of thinking. And I think if you look at this book again, Ivan, I reckon that the glowing girl, as you call her, is explained. I think we do know who the glowing girl is and why Sammy was imagining her. That's what I think. So check that one out again, maybe, Ivan. Maybe discuss it with some of your friends in the class and see if they agree. Okay? Thank you for writing to me. Who's next? Edina. Hello, Edina. You also wrote a lovely poem. Oh, really, really beautiful. In fact, I'm going straight to the poem because you had some bits in here. Firstly, it was really scary, Edina. Honestly, it was a scary poem. And I love this bit you say, it was silent. The sky a black blanket with motionless fireflies. What a lovely image that is. The wind picked up speed. The sky became unsettled. Rain fell. Lovely, atmospheric opening. Really, really good piece of writing. Eleanor, thank you so much for sending me that. Who's next? We've now got Cameron. Hello, Cameron. Also, now you've got a poem as well, haven't you, Cameron? Handwritten, very nice, actually. And you've got a question here. You say, first of all, I would like to ask you, is Tim Bowler your real name or is it just a pen name? Actually, it's my real name. It is my real name. I was christened Tim Bowler. And then your poem, Cameron, really, really good. I like the first line when you talk. It's called Lies, this poem. Really, really good. I guessed, but I never knew for sure. I thought our love was too strong. It's a very interesting, intriguing opening to a poem. So thank you for writing. Really enjoyed that, Cameron. Great to hear from you. Who have we got now? Ilya. Now, Ilya, you're from Russia, aren't you, you say here, which is lovely. You say something really nice about your favourite character. The character I most related to is probably Ricky, because I would do anything for my family and mother. I bet you would, Ilya. It's a lovely thing to say, actually. Really nice thing to say. Then you say, question, if you were Ricky Prescott, what would you do? in the story? Well, do you know what? It's a good question, Elia. If I were Ricky Prescott, I would do exactly what Ricky Prescott does in the story. And there's a point underneath this. That sounds like a silly answer, but actually if you think about it, Ricky Prescott is going to act like Ricky Prescott. Tim Bowler is going to act like Tim Bowler. So if I were in the story myself, as me, what would I do? I don't know, something different. But what I would do isn't really relevant. What matters is what Ricky Prescott would do. And here's a point, Elia. When you're writing stories, that's the trick of the author, or the task of the author. You've got to identify with what other people would do. Those people are not you. They're not. So to write stories well, you've got to empathise and get into the skin, the emotions, the mindset of those people. So Ricky, what he would do, I've got to try and get that right. So it's a good question there, and an interesting one, I think. But Ilya, thanks for writing. Really loved your letter. Thank you very much. Now we've got Selina. Hello, Selina. And you also sent a lovely poem too. You say you liked Sam as a character, didn't you? You thought he was good because he's so determined and independent and everything. And the things he says and does. And then you said, now your poem, amazing. Love it. And the question is, it's called Why? What a good title of a poem. Why? Love the whole thing. And right at the end, you've got lists. Why this, why this, why this? And you end up with this marvellous line where you say, why am I so scared? Why does she want me to die? Wow. Really good stuff. Lovely poem, Selina. Marvellous. Thank you very much. Now we've got Thomas. Hello, Thomas. Now, Thomas, yeah. Oh, you're into Percy Jackson stories, aren't you, by Rick Riordan? He is amazing. I do agree. I love his stuff. Then, great questions. You say, one of them, you say, why is Sam so mature for his age? Because he's very, very young, isn't he, actually, Thomas? I don't know. It's a good question, Thomas. And I find as I get older, I wonder if this will happen to you. As I get older, I keep on finding that young people, very young people, come out with amazing truths. There's a bit in the Bible, isn't there, where he talks about, in the Bible, when saying that the truth has been hidden from the learned, the elderly and the learned, and has been revealed unto babes, unto young people. In other words, sometimes children, I think, they just cut through stuff. As you grow older, sometimes your mind gets clogged up with all kinds of intellectual cleverness. But sometimes kids just come straight out with it, don't they? So I don't know why he's mature. I guess he just is. And children can sometimes be like that. They can be very, very young and very, very old at the same time. Very, 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 very simple and very, very wise. It's a conundrum, isn't it? It's interesting. Good question. Thank you very much, Thomas. Now we've got Rebecca. Hello, Rebecca. Great. Now, lovely letter. Thank you. Question. Oh, yeah. When you were a little kid, did you enjoy writing and reading? And did you decide from a very young age you wanted to be an author, or was it a more recent thing? Rebecca, I wanted to be a writer from the age of 5. So, yeah, a long time ago. Always wanted to be a writer. Thanks for your letter. Who's next? Martha. Lovely. Martha, beautiful, long handwritten letter. Lovely writing. Fantastic poem. Love this poem. There's a storm coming. Really, really good. And you've got this lovely line that goes at the end of each verse where you say, I can hear the thunder humming. Now I know there's a storm coming. And each verse ends with that. I can hear the thunder humming. Now I know there's a storm coming. And at the very end, this great line, you change it. You say, I can hear the thunder dying away. Now I know there's nothing to say. Really good poem. Lovely, long poem, full of atmosphere. Brilliant. Thank you very much for writing. Now we've got Sophie. Hello, Sophie. Also a poem from you. You had a good question here, actually. You say, for Stormcatchers, did you come up with the plot and then the title came after? Or did you think of the title and then think of a good plot to go with it? It's a great question, Sophie. Actually, the answer is neither. None of those things. What happened was, I got a picture in my head, Sophie, of the girl. Here's a tapping noise in the night. I had no idea what the tapping noise was, so I started writing to find out. And I just carried on. The story unfolded like that. Didn't put a plot down ahead of it. I just followed the story where it wanted to go. And at some point, the character says, let's go and catch the storm. I thought, what's she talking about? What's this? What's going on here? And then I realised, once I worked out what catching the storm meant, then the title came as well. So I was halfway through the book and I thought, oh, it's going to be called Stormcatchers. Yep. So, good question, Sophie. Really, really good. Lovely poem too. Brilliant poem. Whoa, yeah. Deception. Hidden from my view, a darkness enveloped all who could know. Then you talk about trust, shattered by this hideous creation. It's good stuff. Lovely, thank you very much. Who's next? We've got Isabel. Hello, Isabel. Also a poem, and a lovely, lots of great stuff in your letter. Some questions. Why did you choose Cornwall as the setting for the book? I don't know. I don't know if you've been to Cornwall, Isabel, but if you have, you'll know it's a very atmospheric place. I think that's the reason, really. And I loved your poem. Oh, really good poem, Isabel. The waves rolled in, anger surging through them. Great stuff. Loved it. Loved it. Thank you very much. Now we've got Rory. Hello, Rory. Hope you're well. Lovely letter. Thank you. Great questions. You've got one here. What do you do when you are lost for ideas? What? You mean after I panic? Truth is, Rory, I'm always lost for ideas. Welcome to my world. And if you're a writer yourself, you just have to get through it. What do you do when you're lost for ideas? You have to be patient. It's like being a fisherman. I mean, I'm not a fisherman, but it's, if you are for a whirl, you know, you bait your line, you throw it in, and you wait. And sometimes you get a bite quickly. Other times, nothing happens for days or weeks or whatever. And that's the same as being a writer. When you're lost for ideas, you bait your line, you throw it in, and you wait. And eventually something goes. But you have to be patient, and it comes in the end. Good question, Rory. Thank you very much. Who's next? This is now. I don't know if you're Jay or Jai. J-A-I. It's a lovely name either way. Can I call you Jay? And if I got it wrong, again, don't hurt me. Don't come looking for me, all right? Jay, lovely letter and lovely poem too. Really, really nice. Do you have any personal experience with a pendulum? You say. Well, it's funny you mention that, Jay. There was a lady I used to know. She died a few years ago, and she used to be a healer. And you could go to her, and she used a pendulum. She didn't use it for divining water or finding missing persons, as some people do, but she used it. What you'd do is she'd have a list of ailments, and you'd run your finger down the list, and she'd have a pendulum hovering. And when you touched a certain thing, a certain ailment, like a headache or whatever it was, you know, the pendulum would spin around. It was the weirdest thing. I don't think she wasn't a kind of charlatan. It was a very strange experience. And she was surprisingly accurate. Now, I'm not saying that's, you know, I'm not saying there's anything in that, but it was interesting anyway. And so pendulums are fascinating things. And the thing that in the story that Billy does with, you know, when he shows the pendulum, you can try that yourselves. You'll find it works. Loved your poem too. Really, really good. Very terse, short, powerful poem. Loved it. Anger boils up, is released out. I break a cup. I scream and shout. Strong stuff. It's really interesting stuff. Thank you for writing, Jay. Good to hear from you. Now, this is Marisa. Hello, Marisa. Let's carry on now. I loved your letter. And again, your poem was just brilliant. Honestly, Marisa, really good poem. Some great lines in it. The rocks, as we approach, stab through the sea like jagged knives. I love the idea of rocks stabbing. Really strong, atmospheric poem. Really nice. Thank you so much. Good to hear from you. Now we've got, not that many left now. Annabelle. Hello, Annabelle. Lovely question. Beautiful lyrical poem. Really, really good. Lovely, lovely writing there. And you say, is anything that you wrote true? In other words, I know what you're saying here. You're saying in the story of Stormcatchers, or maybe my other books too, are they true experiences? The truth is, Annabelle, what I do is I'm not writing autobiography, so I haven't experienced Stormcatchers. I haven't had an adventure like Stormcatchers. But what happens with me, Annabelle, is real life experiences, obviously, they're in here. I sort of translate them or transmute them, if you like, into experiences for some of these characters to experience as well. So it's a bit like that, really. I'm not writing anything autobiographical, but I do take real life experiences and I do use them in stories a lot of the time. So, and certainly in the case of Stormcatchers, lots and lots of personal echoes in there. So good question, Annabelle, thank you. And I loved your poem, as I say, very lyrical writing, really beautifully put together, I thought. And thank you so much for writing. We've nearly finished now. We've got Eliza, haven't we? Hello, Eliza. A lovely poem from you as well. And a good question, actually. You asked me a question here. You say, right, I have always wanted to know if you ever gave up on the book, Stormcatchers, not thinking it was going anywhere, and then you came back later, or did you always know it was going to be a great book when you finished the first chapter? I never know anything like that, actually, when I'm writing a book. Every book I write, Eliza, I find myself at several times in the process thinking, this is rubbish, this is rubbish. And I don't give up on it. I might, take a break for a few hours, but I always go back to it. So I've never given up on a book completely. I've just often stopped, thought, yeah, no, need a break. Take a break for half a day, come back and say, okay, let's try this. So I don't give up on the book, but I've had periods of frustration throughout every book, and including Stormcatchers. So it's a good question. And I loved your poem as well, really nice. A living memory. You had a lovely line here in this one, Eliza. The sea is a living memory. a living mystery to all. That's so true, Eliza, and what a lovely way to put that, I thought. Really, really nice. So thank you very much. Lovely to hear from you. I think we've got one left, have we not? Yes, we have. We've got Zoe. Hello, Zoe. I haven't forgotten you. Last but not least at all, absolutely. Thanks for your poem as well. Great questions as well. You said, do you ever start writing books and stop because they're not good enough? Well, as I was just saying a moment ago, it's a bit like that. I frequently stop in the process of writing, but I always keep going if I can. And Zoe, lovely poem, really, really nice. And in fact, the way the poem ends is very, very stark. And I like the way, the simplicity of this. You say, the sky black, the air black, my heart's black. Let's catch the storm. It's good, Zoe. It's really good. Well done. Well done, everybody. I hope I haven't missed anybody out. If I have, then it's got lost somewhere. And so, Mrs. Estop, I trust you'll write and tell me I missed somebody out, in which case I will send them a message next month. But it's lovely to hear from all of you. And I so loved reading your letters. And I was so touched that you liked Stormcatcher so much. So my best wishes to all of you. Mrs. Estop, lovely to hear from you again. And my best wishes to everybody at the school. Hope to see you one day. Take care. And to everybody who's been watching this bulletin, lovely to see you as well. And I'll speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.